The NBA has its Caitlin Clark. His name is Anthony Edwards, or Ant-Man. Unlike Caitlin Clark, most of you have likely never heard of him. He plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, a franchise without much postseason success. 4 years ago, Minnesota selected Edwards with the #1 overall pick in the draft. I'll be honest, first 2 years of Edwards' professional career, I confused him for Anthony Bennett.
Are you kidding me?
The top pick of the 2013 draft, who bombed in Cleveland and was later traded to Minnesota. Whenever I heard Edwards' name, I assumed Bennett had found his footing in the association. I'm not lying here. I spent 2 years thinking he was Anthony Bennett. Obviously, I was wrong. Edwards and Bennett have nothing in common. Edwards is a 6'4" shooting guard. Bennett was a 6'8" power forward who now plays in the Canadian Basketball League. Whatever. Edwards is on the cusp of being the next big thing in basketball. Last night, behind his 40-point explosion, the Timberwolves eliminated Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns with a 4-game sweep, winning Minnesota's first playoff series in 20 years. In fact, it's just the third playoff series victory in the 35-year history of the franchise.
Hell no.
Casual basketball fans are about to be introduced to the most exciting and transformational player since Michael Jordan. Yes, I said that. You're about to be introduced to the most exciting and transformational player since Michael Jordan. Yes, I said it and I meant it. Or should I say the most exciting and transformational player since Caitlin Clark? I'm serious. At the moment, the 22-year-old Clark has a much bigger profile than 22-year-old Edwards. How come? Let's think about it. Let's talk about it. Because Clark went through the proper branding and development program. She played 4 years of college basketball. She had 2 long NCAA tournament runs. She connected with the most passionate fans in all of sports, college fans. She started local and blew up nationally. She grew up in the game the old-fashioned way, the superior way, the way things used to develop before social media amplified no-talent frauds.
I told you so.
See, I'm old enough. I remember the good old days. Do you? Do you remember like when bands, I'm gonna go music here, like Hootie and the Blowfish would play every little bar in South Carolina and then get signed to a major label? See, I lived in Rock Hill, South Carolina in the early 1990s. Hootie would play at the local college bar, The Money. That's why they became such huge stars. They went through the process. That's what Caitlin Clark has been doing for 4 years, traveling college town to college town, building a passionate fan base. Edwards had a cup of coffee in college basketball.
World's best cup of coffee. Great job, everybody.
He played 1 year at Georgia and then declared for the NBA. He's been toiling in the relative obscurity for 4 years. Hardcore NBA fans are aware and were aware of his gifts and potential. Casual sports fans are just the one-and-done destruction of men's college basketball has ultimately hurt the relevance of the NBA. Caitlin Clark is a superstar entering the WNBA. She's bringing a massive audience with her. Anthony Edwards is in the beginning process of bringing an audience to the NBA. I'll sound a tiny bit conspiratorial here, but I think the destruction of men's college basketball is by design. Feminists and enemies of the patriarchy do not want young men properly developed. They don't want to create more male icons. If Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson played 4 years of college basketball, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese would not be nearly as popular as they are now. Over the past 2 decades, we've paid closer and closer attention to the women's game, primarily because men's college basketball is so weak and the players so transient. More than a decade ago, I started shouting that Brittany Griner and Skylar Diggins were the 2 biggest stars in college basketball. This was back in 2012 and 2013. Griner played for Baylor, Diggins played for Notre Dame. They had more name recognition than any of the men's players. That trend has continued unabated. Men's basketball at the collegiate and professional level is being harmed by the one and done rule. The NBA could fix this. It won't, because anything that supports strong men is being destroyed. It's really no different from our border crisis. It's a controlled demolition. Men's basketball is building 7. That controlled demolition, letting everybody in the border, they're tearing down this country and everybody's just ignoring it as they let people just cross the border and infiltrate this country. Again, everything is a controlled demolition. And you're just supposed to, hey, don't worry about it. We can absorb it, we can take it all. And then things start falling apart and you go, what happened? How did we get here? There's no other explanation. There's no other way to explain a league that benefited from Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and Isaiah Thomas building huge brands in college basketball, passively watching its relevancy decline as it depends on one-and-done players. The proper formula birthed the rivalry between Magic and Bird. It created the Jordan brand, Air Jordan sneakers, and record TV ratings. The current system can't come close to duplicating the kind of traction and passion of the previous era. Why are they allowing this? Why allow the women to duplicate the superior system? It only makes sense when you realize the anti-patriarchy crowd wants Caitlin Clark to be a bigger deal than Anthony Edwards. I still like Caitlin Clark. I'm fascinated by her story. But in terms of real basketball entertainment, she does not remotely compare to Anthony Edwards. He plays above the rim. He's charismatic. He has an intense passion for the game. He celebrates his teammates. His backstory is fascinating. He's overcome a tough upbringing. He apparently has no connection to his dad. Across social media, people speculate that Michael Jordan is his father. I'm not kidding. It's irresponsible speculation, but on the court and in appearance, he does resemble Air Jordan. All Anthony Edwards needs is a tiny bit of public relations polish. He curses too much in press conferences. That's my only complaint. He drops MFs and other profanities constantly when talking to the media. Later this week, if the Denver Nuggets eliminate the Lakers, Edwards and the T-Wolves will open a 7-game series against Nikola Jokic in Denver. Jokic is the best player in the NBA. He's likely going to win his 3rd MVP trophy in 4 years. A super competitive Nuggets T-Wolves series could launch Ant-Man to stardom.